A man in central Turkey was renovating his basement. One wall seemed unusual. Behind it was empty space. He knocked through the stone. Then he saw another room, and behind that room, another passage. What began as a simple home repair would uncover one of the largest underground cities ever discovered. A city with churches, schools, food storage chambers, ventilation shafts, defensive stone doors, and enough space to shelter nearly 20,000 people. This wasn't a legend, it wasn't folklore, and it wasn't a myth. Today, visitors can walk through its tunnels. Archaeologists have mapped its chambers, and the evidence still exists beneath the town of Derinkuyu. Before we continue, look at the proof. These structures remain visible today. The city descends approximately 85 meters beneath the surface. It contains up to 18 levels, and archaeologists agree that this underground complex was capable of sheltering thousands of people. The discovery was real. The city was real. The question is how it remained hidden for so long. In 1963, Derinkuyu was a quiet agrarian town in Turkey's Nevşehir province. Surface life unfolded slowly, shaped by the arid climate of central Anatolia, the dusty streets, and the daily routines of farming. The local residents lived in modest stone houses built directly into the region's soft volcanic terrain. To the generations of families who lived here, the earth was something to be ploughed for sustenance, not explored. No one in the village had any reason to suspect that the ground beneath their feet held anything other than solid rock. That spring, a local homeowner began a routine basement renovation. Like most old dwellings in the province, his home sat atop deep layers of volcanic tuff, a soft, carvable rock formed from ancient volcanic ash. His project was entirely practical, meant to expand storage space or carve out a well. The basement wall appeared completely ordinary, indistinguishable from the hand-cut stone foundations of neighbouring homes. There were no municipal maps, no ancestral records, and no visible marks to suggest his property sat on anything unusual. He picked up his tools simply to improve his home, completely unaware that a single, unassuming barrier of stone was all that separated his ordinary domestic life from a massive, silent world below. As the stone barrier finally crumbled under the force of the homeowner's tools, it did not meet more solid rock or packed earth. Instead, the final blow broke through into an unexpected void, releasing a sudden cool draft of air that carried the scent of dry dust and absolute stillness. Through the jagged opening in the basement foundation, a deep, silent darkness stared back at him. With a lantern in hand, the homeowner widened the breach just enough to squeeze through. Stepping through the threshold, he descended into a small, cold chamber. As the lantern light flickered across the walls, it became immediately clear that this was not a natural cave. The surfaces were clean and intentionally shaped, showing the distinct uniform chisel marks of tools that had systematically carved away the soft volcanic tuff. But the discovery did not end in this first hidden room. In the shadows of the far corner, the chamber floor sloped downward, feeding into a narrow, low-ceilinged passage that disappeared into the blackness. Moving forward into the quiet cold, the homeowner followed the corridor as it twisted deeper into the earth, only to find that it branched again and again. Single passages split into secondary tunnels, some leading to further hollowed-out chambers, others descending down steep, hand-cut stone steps into even deeper levels. There was no debris, no sound from the town above, only a vast, labyrinthine network of empty rooms and corridors waiting in the dark. In a matter of moments, a routine home renovation had dissolved into a profound mystery, exposing a subterranean world that defied the boundaries of his own basement. Word of the strange cavity beneath the property of Mahmut Yildiz quickly reached the local muhtar, the village head of Derinkuyu. Recognizing the scale of the find, the Muhtar contacted provincial authorities. On June 12, 1963, the discovery became an official matter of record. The Municipal Land Registry, the Tapuva Cadastro Mudurlugu, documented the event under entry K 1963 001, filing a formal request for assistance from national experts. When the first regional officials and survey teams descended through the breached wall, they realized almost immediately that they were not dealing with a simple cavern or a modern hiding place. The cold, dry passages stretched far beyond the light of their torches, laid out with a deliberate geometric precision. The casual exploration of a private homeowner ended. The site required formal, systematic preservation, prompting the Turkish Ministry of Culture and Tourism to secure the entrance and prepare for a full-scale scientific investigation. The initial survey team moved methodically through the first chamber, expecting to find the back wall of a single ancient cellar. Instead, they found a corridor that sloped gently downward, cutting straight through the soft volcanic stone. It led to a second room, then a third, each chamber connected by tunnels barely wide enough for two people to pass. As they pushed deeper, the system branched into secondary passages that angled away at precise, deliberate corners. What seemed like an isolated hiding place began to reveal a planned, interconnected design. The teams documented stone benches carved directly out of the walls, large storage niches, and circular entryways that suggested specific, organized domestic purposes. Every few yards, another dark opening appeared in the rock, leading to lower levels where the air remained remarkably fresh and still. The physical footprint of the excavation was expanding faster than anyone predicted, stretching far past the boundaries of the town streets above. It was no longer a question of a hidden room beneath a single home. The workers were walking through a sprawling, multi-level matrix, realizing that the soft volcanic tuff had been systematically hollowed out with a scale of coordination that defied their early expectations. The survival of thousands of people deep underground depended entirely on engineering, not luck. To breathe, ancient builders cut 52 massive vertical shafts directly through the stone. These conduits plunged 55 meters into the earth, creating a natural chimney effect that pulled fresh surface air down to the lowest chambers. This design ensured that even 18 levels below, the air remained clean, cool, and breathable. But air was only the first requirement. These same 52 ventilation shafts doubled as deep water wells, extending down to tap the region's natural aquifer. By lining the shafts with stone to prevent contamination, the builders secured a clean, internal water source that could not be poisoned or cut off by enemies on the surface. To feed the population over months of confinement, the city required massive food reserves. The surveys revealed huge vaulted storage chambers carved into the rock, containing deep niches specifically shaped to keep grain, oil, and wine at a constant, cool temperature. Nearby, stables with hand-cut feeding troughs and tethering holes proved that even livestock lived down here, providing essential milk and labour. Every chamber, well, and vent proves the same truth. This subterranean network was not a temporary escape hatch. It was a highly organised, self-sustaining city, engineered to keep a massive society alive in complete isolation from the world above. The infrastructure of daily life at Derinkuyu went far past basic survival. Farther within the stone matrix, archaeologists documented massive, hand-carved wine and oil presses. Complete with heavy stone basins and drainage channels, these installations proved that agricultural processing continued even when the population was forced underground. Just off the main corridors, stables carved with precise tethering holes and feeding troughs housed work animals, securing the labour and transport needed to maintain an active society in confinement. but physical survival was only part of the design. The builders structured this underworld to sustain the social fabric of their community. Lower-tier chambers feature vaulted ceilings, apse-like niches, and cross-shaped reliefs, identifying them as fully operational churches. Nearby, long rock-cut benches and tables mark the locations of subterranean schoolrooms, where children continued their education in the dim light of oil lamps. Together, these spaces reveal that the city was not a chaotic, claustrophobic bunker. It was a functioning, highly structured society designed to preserve every element of civil and domestic life in the dark. The most explicit proof of intentional protection lies in the city's security architecture. Throughout the corridors, archaeologists uncovered massive circular stone doors. These stone wheels, measuring up to 2 meters in diameter and half a meter thick, weigh as much as 500 kilograms. They sit in precise grooves cut directly into the volcanic stone. Each door was engineered to roll sideways across the corridor, blocking the passage completely. Because they could only be operated from the inside using a central pivot, a single defender could lock down an entire level against an invading force. Small holes cut through the center of the wheels allowed defenders to monitor the passage. These doors were not temporary barricades. They were a deliberately planned security system, engineered to divide the complex into self-contained, defensible zones. For researchers, this defensive design provides the ultimate clarity. The presence of these engineered stone barriers, alongside the air shafts, wells, stables, and communal spaces, confirms that Derinkuyu was not a casual shelter. It functioned as a true, permanent underground city. Determining when this massive underground world was first carved requires descending to the absolute bottom of the city. In the lowest surviving layers of the tunnels, archaeologists find themselves in a silent gallery of tool marks and ancient dust representing the very earliest phase of construction. The prevailing scholarly view places these oldest portions in the Phrygian period, likely dating back to the 8th or 7th century BC. Because no written inscriptions survive from this initial era, researchers must rely on subtle physical clues. Scholars have compared the distinctive chisel marks on the lowest stone walls with known Phrygian stoneworking techniques found on surface structures. This physical analysis is supported by fragments of Phrygian redware pottery recovered from these same chambers. Still, establishing a definitive timeline remains incredibly difficult. The lack of datable organic material in the lowest layers forces archaeologists to keep their interpretations qualified. The physical evidence does not reveal a single moment of creation, but rather a cautious, ancient beginning, a modest series of chambers that started an excavation that would continue for generations. The modest Phrygian chambers served as a foundation for centuries of continuous modification. The principal growth of Derinkuyu occurred much later, during the Byzantine era between the 7th and 10th centuries. As Arab-Byzantine wars swept across central Anatolia, the local population faced persistent threats of raids. Instead of fleeing their lands, successive generations descended into the earth, systematically expanding the inherited tunnels. They hollowed out the upper and middle levels, shaping fresh living quarters, storage chambers, and large communal spaces. Evidence of this extensive Byzantine occupation remains carved into the rock of levels 5 through 9, where researchers documented Christian frescoes, altar stones, and Greek inscriptions dedicating the underground spaces to the saints. The city functioned as an active, organic refuge. Each community adapted the subterranean layout to its needs, a practice that continued long after the Byzantine Empire fell. Cappadocian Greeks maintained and used these tunnels for protection up until the population exchange of 1923, leaving behind a vast monument shaped by more than 1,000 years of human survival. Anatolia's volcanic plains were a corridor of relentless conflict. During the Arab-Byzantine wars of the 7th through 10th centuries, territorial and religious rivalries swept armies across these plains, leaving rural families exposed to sudden raids. For these agricultural communities, survival meant vanishing entirely. When lookout posts on nearby hills warned of an approaching force, entire villages retreated below ground, carrying what they could salvage into the dark. Securing this retreat relied on a highly defensive layout. The builders carved the access routes to be intentionally narrow and low, forcing any intruder to bend double and advance single file. These strategic choke points and winding passages allowed a few defenders to easily block the tunnels, turning the vast underground complex into an impenetrable, silent sanctuary. The true dimensions of Derinkuyu transformed the entire scale of archaeological discovery in Anatolia. Systematic surveys revealed a subterranean network descending approximately 85 meters, or 279 feet, into the volcanic earth, distributed across an upper range of 18 distinct levels. This massive infrastructure was engineered to support an estimated capacity of roughly 20,000 people, all living and working far below the surface. Yet the physical boundary of this city was only the starting point. Researchers soon discovered that this complex did not exist in isolation. Archaeological mapping identified hundreds of hidden entrances scattered across the Cappadocian region, linking Derinkuyu directly to neighboring underground complexes through a web of long engineered tunnels. What appeared to be a singular, hidden refuge was actually just one node of an integrated, region-wide subterranean network, a silent world that lay, completely unsuspected, beneath the hills. This vast, interconnected system forced archaeologists to rewrite their understanding of ancient human adaptation and subterranean engineering. Today, the modern town of Derinkuyu continues its quiet existence directly above this ancient monument. Below the streets, the underground city is recognized as a protected cultural heritage site rather than a local legend, with the Turkish Ministry of Culture managing public access to the first 8 levels. Archaeologists and conservators actively map the remaining passages using 3-dimensional laser scanning to study the stability of the volcanic tuff. This immense subterranean network remains physically present beneath the active town, standing as a silent, verified reality carved into the stone. Today, life continues directly above this silent stone labyrinth. Derinkuyu reminds us how thin the barrier remains between our modern world and the forgotten past. The most profound chapters of human history aren't always lost to time. Sometimes they are resting just inches from our daily lives, waiting in the dark. What do you think still waits to be discovered? Let us know in the comments.